So apparently this is a 30-parter. So we're going to take a little trip back through time now. Alright. So like I said, I graduated high school in 1993. Alright. So after school, I wanted to be a cop. I took a year or so off and I wanted to go to college because I wanted to be a cop, but I also still wanted to be an actor. And then my cop dreams got destroyed due to family drama. So I decided that if I can't be a cop because of the people that my siblings are dating, that means they were not good guys. And they did illegal paraphernalia. Anyway, since that was a problem, I decided that I'm going to go with this acting thing full time. So, and a tragedy kind of led me to wanting to do more martial arts stuff. So, let me tell you the tragedy and then let me go back down the line there. The tragedy was my dad. Even though he didn't die yet. What happened was, I went to go see my dad and my stepmom at my stepsister's house. And so when I went there, I met my stepmom at the door and I didn't see my dad. And we hugged and we shot the breeze, and then my dad snuck up behind me and his hands were beside me, and that's all I saw. And my elbow said, wham! And before I knew what happened, I hit him and split all of this shit. And he had to get a root canal. So for the whole weekend, he was in pain. Because the shit happened late Friday. His dentist didn't open up on Saturday or Sunday. And I regret that shit still to this day. Even though he forgave me, he called me Monday after he had got the root canal and told me what happened. And I told him I'm sorry. And he forgave me. And I still haven't forgiven myself, even though he's been dead for 5 years now. It still hurts me at how I can't cut this shit off. This is why I hold back when I spar. This is why I don't play around with people. Because shit happens and instincts are a dangerous thing. Now, let's go back in time. Before that, 1995, I think. No, so it was actually in between that. So, between 95 and 97, they had 4 major martial arts on TV. UFC, Rec, Pride, and ISK. Alright? ISKA was ESPN's kickboxing. You had your full gloves, but they were like boxing gloves, and you had your foot protector gloves. That was it. So you had those things, not the white guards, just like the boxing gloves on your feet. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you've ever been a kickboxer. So you can still use the power without killing your opponent. Those things. So that's what you had. You had the hand guards and you had your foot guards. You didn't have shin guards because they weren't made yet. But you did have your feet in the protective coat. So that existed. But sadly, there was a teensy itsy bitsy problem. So the internet's been a thing for a while. And back in the 90s, the only way that you could apply for these things was if you lived in Las Vegas. You could personally go down to Rec and Pride and whoever the hell else existed at the time, at UFC, and get a job if you could fight. Well, I could fight, but I didn't have any money to move to Los Angeles or Las Vegas or any damn where else. So when you ain't got money, you can't go anywhere. So that's part of the opportunity being cut right there. But the most important part was, they would fly you out if you were good. If you had potential. So here's how that worked. Because it didn't work for me. So Rec, Pride, and UFC. ISK I applied for because they're like right up there in New York. And they told me that their lightest weight was 130. At the time, my metabolism would not let me gain weight no matter how much I ate. I went to GNC. I tried to get Weight Gainer 1000, all that shit. The only thing that shit did make me do was shit a lot. I pooped so much my hole was sore. Really, really sore. Like hemorrhoid infected sore. The more I took it, the more I shit it. Alright? So it's like there's got to be a different supplement that you can give me, like a pill. It's like, nope, all we have is this milkshake crap. Have at it. I paid like maybe $40 for these things and nothing happened. Outside of bad cases of diarrhea. Really, really bad cases of diarrhea. It was hard to go to work because I take a shake before work within an hour because you're not supposed to eat with those, or at least you weren't supposed to eat with them. At least that's what the instructions said. So, you read the instructions. Then they had the chewables, which was horrible. The chewables didn't give me diarrhea, but they made my stomach cramp really, really bad. So, I went back to the milkshakes, and it's just like one awful thing after another. So, I applied for Rec, I applied for Pride, I applied for UFC. Now, this is 1997, 95, 97, because those are the 3 years I tried, like back to back to back. Nothing happened except for each one of them sent me something that said, you need to get your weight up. I explained to them that my metabolism is too fast, and even if I eat 3 meals a day, I'm stuck at 120 pounds. And they were like, well, you need to take weight gain 3,000 and all that shit. I was like, dude, I've done that. It ain't working. No. And you should not probably, I'm not going to say that you personally shouldn't do it, but for me, if God wants you to gain weight, you would have been genetically designed to gain weight. I didn't gain weight until I was 37 years old. I stayed at $120 until I hit the Army. When I hit the Army, I made it up to $130. I'm back down to $120 now because of my hip replacement, and the doctors don't want me to go over $125. So I'm gonna go back up to $125, and that's gonna be my solid weight right there. They don't want me going to 130 before this next hip replacement. I'm trying not to have this next hip replacement. Anyway, so each one, Rec, Pride, UFC, their lightweight champions was 135 to 140. And I'm like, dude, I can fight. And they're like, dude, we don't give a fuck. If you don't weigh this amount of weight, you're not getting a job. And that's what the little email thing said. I didn't really have email as one of those like things that you fill it out and they kind of reply back to you almost instantly. It's also in black and white. I thought I had printed it out, but if I do, I don't know where the hell this shit's at. But I applied for these things for 3 years straight, from 95 to 97. Yes, all of 95, 96, 97. I know it doesn't sound like 3 years, but it was 3 years. Anyway, by the time 2010 came around, that's when they started having my class. There was one teeny, tiny, itty bitty little problem. By that time, not only have I gotten up to 130, I belong to the government of the United States of America's Army National Guard. So, there was no way in hell that I was going to be in the UFC. Then we learned that I couldn't shoot. Got an honorable discharge and a fucked up ass hip from a fall that they couldn't find out what was wrong with me until McGuire saved my leg. Now, Fort Benning dropped the ball. McGuire caught it. They caught it in time, but not in time. They caught it in time, and the situation was like this. Here's how the doctor explained it to me. Mr. Williams, you should have a seat. And I looked at the doctor because I had been having like serious pains in my stomach. And my knees were always hurting because initially what Fort Benning said was that it was my knee. Yeah, this is why it's very important for you, no matter who you are and where you are, to go get a fucking second opinion. If they would have caught this before McGuire caught it, I'd have been alright. But we didn't catch it until McGuire caught it. Because I kept complaining about my leg. And I kept telling them, I was like, yo, dude, there's something wrong with my leg. And they kept running all these tests on me and they couldn't find anything. So they claimed it was bone spurs. And it's like, bone spurs should not be giving you this much fucking trouble. I said, man, hey, look, I'm going with what the doctors at fucking Fort Benning told me. So, well, we're going to hook you up. So we're going to x-ray you. We're going to find everything that's wrong with you. And they did my knee. They found bone spurs. They put me through the little donut thing. They found more bone spurs. They said, there's something else that we're missing. We're going to find it. So it went away. Come back with these mad-ass cramps in my stomach. I said, dude, I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I got a bleeding ulcer. And so what happens after that was speeding back up to where the doctor says, you need to sit down. We have good news and we got worse news. His actual words, we have bad news and we have worse news. And I looked at him and I said, okay, so how many months do I got? He's like, well, it's not that bad. I was like, well, you just said. He's like, yeah, we kind of like to break the ice with that. So I was like, okay. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, all right, you fucker. So, because I really thought I was going to die. Until I found out that I just might. So, so the doctor goes, how long has your hip been fucked up? I said, my hip's not fucked up. The Army said it was my knee. I said, the Army was wrong. It's been your hip the entire fucking time. I was like, well, but it didn't hurt when I fell. He said, well, here's where the good news comes in. You're a fucking enigma. The pain you feel in your knee is coming from your hip. And I was like, how the fuck does that happen? He said, did you miss the part about you being an enigma? He said, we've ran all your tests. We've looked at everything. You do not have a bleeding ulcer. But if you don't get this hip replacement, you'll never walk again. You need this hip replacement like yesterday. We wish you would have came in as soon as your knee was fucked up. I said, well, I did come in. Y'all gave me therapy. Y'all sent me back home. Y'all told me there wasn't nothing y'all could do about it. He said, well, those doctors clearly didn't pay attention. And I was like, well, it's funny, because I said the same thing about the doctors at Fort Benning, and I didn't want a fucking malingering charge. So, for those who don't know, a malingering charge is where you just don't want to do your job. You're slacking. Now, I didn't want a malingering charge, so even though I was in pain, I did what I was told. Until I had to run to the Tree of Woe because one of my battle buddies fucked up. And that's kind of really what triggered everything. And that affected me at my ability to qualify with my rifle. But we didn't know it was my hip. Then one of the drill sergeants also kicked my legs apart. So that probably added on to the fucking shit. So that being said, I was fucked up. And so he goes, alright, so here's what's going to happen. You have to go get your wisdom teeth taken out. And your broken tooth taken out. Or you're going to die on the table. We're not going to cut you until you get that shit done. So I had to go buy dental insurance. I had to find someone who would take the dental insurance. Then I had to have an anesthesiologist explain all this shit to me. And then they put my ass to sleep. Took out the broken tooth. Took out the wisdom teeth. And within a month of that, because they wanted to make sure that I was clear. And after McGuire double checked to make sure everything else was clear, they decided they were going to cut my leg. So my dentist got me this implant because I couldn't afford to get the whole thing put in my mouth. That's going to have to save up. So if I have a photo shoot, so I have one false tooth. Anyway, I don't tell lies. So anyway, he said this is going to happen. We're going to cut you open. You're going to be out between 12 and 18 hours. We're going to sever all your nerves and put this big metal rod in your ass. And then we're going to wake you up. And everything's going to be fine. Until they pull that catheter out. But other than that, back to the moral of the story. I never got my opportunity to get into the UFC. I never got my opportunity to play games with Rec or Pride because they had weight class issues. So in 2010, when I joined the Army, lo and behold, 115 to 125. Now they have my weight class now that I'm 130. You're talking about somebody pissed off. So this is part of the reason why y'all have no idea who the fuck I am. This is part of the reason why I don't have a lot of success. It's just bad timing. Timing is very, very important. So I guess what's going to happen for my career to take off is for me to actually stumble into a fight and just beat the shit out of everybody. Otherwise, my 85 followers here, you're all I've got. You really are. You're all I've got. So thank you guys for watching. I hope I enlightened you a little bit on weight classes and shit like that, because I had to Google it because I was like, a friend of mine in Saber Night Lights class, he was telling me that they had my weight class since 1995, and I said, that's bullshit, Because if that was the case, I would have been a champion. He's like, how you figure that? I said, because back in the 90s, way back in the 90s, before UFC and them really got popular due to the Gracies and all of that, and you probably all have no idea what I'm about to say, but I'm going to talk about some shoot fighting in this video. In 1992 to 1997, there was these two Chinese people and this thing called shoot fighting. I didn't have any money to go to Las Vegas, so I damn sure didn't have any money to go to the Far East, because this was happening in China, Japan, and Thailand and all this shit. The shoot fighting is what kind of put UFC and them on the map. So during the shoot fighting, there was a Chinese girl who was my size. She was only 5'3" and a half. And there was a Chinese guy who was 5'3" and a half. And they were beating the brakes off of everybody. Now, I don't know if they were husband and wife or brother and sister. I don't really remember. But I know that when they started filming this shit and recording it, it was before Van Damme's career got really, really big. You could see these motherfuckers meant business. They beat the brakes off of everybody. The woman was fighting men and beating people. And I was like, I want to do that. In America, though, we're kind of soft, and we have legal ramifications for shit like that, so we're not allowed to do that shit. Which put the UFC, Pride, and Reckon them all on the map, because they found ways to sanction shit. So, make it legal, put gloves in it. Make the purse, so have it in big arenas, so that you can not only double your money, but you can quadruple your money, because people are going to pay to come see other people get their ass whooped. Because that's why the thing is such a big deal. Now, let me be honest on fighting. It's better to give pain than receive it. But it's also better to be a good sport. If you have beaten the person and they're down, stop fighting. This is the grace of a martial artist. If I've knocked you out, you're down. We're done. If you watch a lot of UFC dudes, and I'm not going to say I'm not guilty of this shit, because I might be guilty of it. I don't want to confess to something that I didn't do. But 9 times out of 10, when they knock him down, they throw in that extra blow. Or they blame it on, it was adrenaline. Or sometimes the ref has a twinkle in his eye, and he just turns the eye and he doesn't see the guy who's out cold getting the bloody fucking shit beat out of him. There's loopholes and everything, people. The grace of a good fighter is, when your opponent is defeated, he is defeated. Don't turn your back on the bastard, but know that he is defeated. And if you are on the receiving end of that ass whooping, don't do nothing stupid. This is Kung Fu Havoc number 2. BC and Neo. Oh yeah, support Drinking Plate. Damn, totally missed the stop button.